unfortunately I feel in India hasn't received due attention. I congratulate them to sensitize general stakeholders, students and members of public about or towards the issue of disaster management. We realize about managing the disaster only after disaster has happened. We do not think of avoiding it or preparing for it. Okay? Preparedness is the best way of avoiding any issue. We don't even plan for it. What would happen if something happens? We don't even train people. I remember that film clip on TV when 9/11 happened in the US and the whole WTO, the all three towers were collapsing. And what I was seeing had shocked me, and I was wondering, God forbid it should not happen, but if it happens in India, what would have happened? There would have been chaos, utter disorganization, and a disaster would have caused another disaster. What I saw there was, from one side, people, inhabitants of World Trade Center were getting down, and on the other side of the same staircase, the firefighters were climbing up. It was as simple, as orderly as if people were walking out of an auditorium after a movie. There was no running around, no hurrying up, I want to go before you, nothing absolutely. In a very orderly way, people were being evacuated and firefighters were just walking in. Even that, I would say, must come in disaster management. Informing people on how to behave if something happens. Disasters cannot be predicted, except maybe to some extent cyclones, to some extent earthquakes, but still nature has the last laugh. And therefore, preparedness is the most important thing. So that is the reason I say I congratulate them. I also congratulate IIM Raipur for bringing together all the stakeholders. I see students over there, students of TIS, with whom I had nice lunch in the afternoon, okay, academicians, policymakers, okay, and general members of the society who are all affected or connected with disasters in one way or the other. It would, I am sure, at the end of these 2 days, there can be a nice white paper which can lead to a national level policy and can advise the concerned authorities in disaster management at the Government of India level. When I was a student in Mumbai, I was taught a Malthusian theory in economics, wherein this fellow was a great visionary, a priest by profession, had predicted that if you don't prevent certain factors which the nature wants you to guard against, the positive factors will happen and the nature will take its own toll by way of earthquakes, by way of other natural disasters, natural calamities, and the population will come into balance. To a great extent, I feel he was right, and we are helping him to prove right by various other ways. I would like to discuss a case study of these rains in July 2005 in Mumbai. If any one of you would have been in Mumbai at that time, you would know what exactly had happened. I was there in Mumbai. I was teaching a course in the institute called Nasi Monji Institute of Management Studies, and my session was post-lunch, 2 to 4 was my session. My wife called me at 1:30. She lived in Mumbai. So she said, why don't you come over, it's nice drizzling, let's go out for a walk. I live very close to Ari Colony, the only green belt of Mumbai. I said, yeah, I got to finish my session, I'll finish it and come over. It was only drizzling when I just saw out of the window when I went out to class. And at about 3:30, a peon comes calling, sir, class has to be abandoned because the students have to go home. I didn't understand what he was talking about. In 2 hours, it rained so much. Or I would say, does it? I don't know. But there was water clogging everywhere. And at certain places, there was knee-deep water. Some places, there was waist-deep water. Somewhere, people are walking to chest-deep water and wading their way to their respective homes. Everything has come to standstill. Buses were literally floating, BST buses. Trains had stopped. And then even I had to walk okay, almost a distance of about 12 kilometers from Narsi Munji, which is at Vileparle, to my home in Goregaon East. And to give me a nice company, I had Amitabh Bachchan and Abhishek Bachchan also with me, wading through those waters. Okay. What had happened? Did it really rain so much in 2 hours that the classes had to abandon, buses had to stop, train came to a standstill? Or the unruly civilized, so-called civilized society of Mumbai and insensitive government who doesn't know how to govern, or the municipal authorities who don't know how to govern, were responsible for it. Of course, a lot of post-mortem was done later on and several things were revealed. But what did this small case study which I just said, I presented to you in just about 2 minutes, tell us? And if you see, more or less, the applications are similar to most of the disasters everywhere, right from the original one till the latest one in Himachal Pradesh. If you see, most of the cases, there is always a disregard to nature. We keep cutting trees. We have not understood the importance of trees. Okay. We do not bother to plant the trees or uproot them and replant them or plant another tree. At least 3 trees should be planted in place of 1 if you had to uproot 1 tree. Mangroves. When I was in Mumbai last, every time when I come to Mumbai, I prefer to sit on the left, alpha seat, so that you can see the flight landing and you see New Bombay and yes, my home is arriving. I see mangroves which are there in New Mumbai, if you know, okay, are reducing in size. They play their own role in ecology. More and more land is being reclaimed. The sea is being pushed back. That pushed back sea is going to make its way and take its revenge in one way or the other. There is a disregard to basic civil amenities. Or even civic rules, I would say. Why only amenities? Plastic bags is a big menace. Every year in Mumbai, when in July or August, railways, both central and western railway, suburban railway, which are the 2 lifelines of entire Mumbai. Mumbai, you know, is a north-south divide city. Okay, the residential areas are in North Mumbai and all the offices are in South Mumbai. And the only way to be connected, if efficiently and economically, are the suburban trains. Come to standstill, not because there is inappropriate drainage, but because the plastic waste that is thrown on the tracks choke all the drainage system and the water gets clogged. The water saturation takes place, leading to stoppage of life in Mumbai. Encroachment. The single most factor which led to that July 2005 disaster in Mumbai, just because of 1.5 hours of heavy rains, the most important factor was this encroachment of a particular river. And we all came to know that that small nala that we see every day was not actually a nala, but was supposed to be a big river. Okay? Taking the water out, and naturally, then we came to know that river is called as Mithi River, whom we used to refer to as just a nala. Okay? And it was a Mithi River. Okay? On both sides of its bank, the land was grabbed and housing, slums, etc. had come up. And whichever land was occupied, a lot of debris was dropped there by the builders who were in the building construction area. Lack of proper drainage system. Many drainages are choked. They are not maintained properly. They have been designed more than 100 years ago in most places in India. They cannot withstand, they cannot sustain the increased civilization. And of course, as I said earlier, rampant throwing of debris. Wherever there is empty space, no one's space is my space, or no one's space is anybody's space, and we can just use it for whatever purpose that we want. And debris is thrown. Worse still, there is no preparedness. We keep wondering what to do once the disaster has struck. I would say that's sufficient to begin with. I don't want to present any paper, but I want to just initiate the discussion. And whatever that I have said are my own concerns. As a person who lives in a civilized society, as a person who has some sensitivity towards nature, and as a person who has right to expect better living, whatever concerns that come to me, I have simply raised them. Let me invite my panel speaker, Mr. Santosh Kumar, to give his panel speech. But before that, given the number of papers that we have about 6 speakers, okay, plus Mr. Santosh Kumar, 7 speakers. We have 90 minutes. I am not conveniently calculating this time, okay. But even this one, we can have about 10 minutes per speaker, considering the time that I have taken, okay. And we can use remaining 10 minutes for question answer sessions, okay. I request all those to ask your questions towards the end. You can direct the speaker, and you can ask him or her your questions at the end. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Santosh Kumar, you would like to introduce him? Yeah. Thank you.